Hello and welcome to the 13-week program. In this first session, it's going to give you a lot of information about how you're going to get through this program. So first of all, what I'd suggest is that you make sure that you put aside about 20 minutes once a week to run through each weekly session. That's what it is. It's about 15 to 20 minutes. Take a pen and paper, note a few things down, and then you've got it there throughout the week. In the meantime, also, you've got your Me, Myself, and Diet Express downloadable flipping book, which you can dip into. And every week we'll be telling you about the sections in the book that are referred to.
Yep.
You can dip into that. Okay, so first of all, what we want to do is make sure that you know why you're on this journey. I mean, it's right at the very beginning. Okay, we've got 13 weeks laid out for you, but it's not just going to finish after 13 weeks. It is a journey that's a new diet and exercise healthy eating program which you will stay with forever because you'll feel the benefits. You'll see the benefits.
Yes, and I feel very strongly it's about getting back in touch with yourself and getting to know you. You know, a long lost friend, so to speak, you've been sending postcards to. You're coming back and you're going to be learning, on lots of different levels, emotionally, physically, how you respond to food, how you feel. Do you feel full? Do you feel hungry? Do you just eat for the sake of eating? There are so many different ways in which you need to listen to your body. It's, am I tired or am I stressed? Am I hungry? And I think that all of those aspects are such an exciting part about getting to know the real you again and, set aside a time to do this because you've got a lot of time that you spend with yourself. You may as well know yourself.
So yes, first of all, analyze why you eat. Look at your present eating habits. What we need you to do is eat 3 good healthy meals and 2 or 3 healthy snacks throughout the day. I need you to start the day and eat within an hour of waking and eating what we have in the nutritional journal, which I'll show you a little bit later. But the traffic light system is going to help you with that. So you're eating mainly from the green list for a weight loss program and also healthy eating. So you're eating from there most of the time. So it's 3 meals, 2 or 3 healthy snacks a day, and loads of water. I mean, it is the secret to success, isn't it, Julie?
Yes, I mean it's certainly very important. There's no doubt about it. But one step at a time. If you don't drink any water and all you drink is fizzy juices or fizzy soda, it's really up to you to realize that you're going to be shifting and making those changes. Ideally, we would like to have 8 glasses of water a day. I don't sometimes get that done, but it's about making those small changes week by week.
Okay, so I want to start by looking at the 3 main food groups. First group is protein. Protein is probably the first thing that people think about when preparing a meal. What are we going to have to eat tonight? Well, chicken and something.
Yes, that's true.
Proteins, we've got, Julie, you're going to do the visuals for me, aren't you?
We have our chicken.
Chicken.
Okay.
Straight from the freezer.
Okay, and we also have prawns or shrimps. Okay.
In the same group, you'll find beans, kidney beans, and chickpeas, and of course you've got your baked beans,
which are fantastic.
Okay, one of the biggest protein or the best proteins you can have are actually eggs, and we would recommend that you could have actually an egg every day.
Yes, which is not everybody's belief on the matter, but it is what we follow.
Okay, so why would we eat proteins?
Well, they're pretty much building blocks for your body.
That's right. So you need them for growth and repair. Remember, feed the man meat. That's all.
That's what your mummy used to say.
No, that was an ad on television for farming. Yeah. So that's the first food group. So proteins. Whenever you're thinking about proteins, we would recommend that you have your lean meats. So if you're having red meat, it'd be 2 or 3 times a week maximum. If you can have bacon, you can have lean back bacon with the rind off. If you're choosing mince, it's got to be the very lean variety. You can certainly have a steak, but unfortunately it's the fillet that we'd recommend as the first one, so it's the odd treat, because the others are just a little bit too fatty. It's very occasional only.
And a treat also because they are quite
Yeah.
costly as well.
Very.
Fillets are costly, yeah.
Yeah. Pork, again, it would be the fillet of the pork that is recommended because it's got less fat on it. Certainly all manner of seafood is recommended, and I would certainly recommend it every 2 or 3 times a week again.
And
seafood.
oily fish. You've got your salmon and your tuna fish. I mean, everybody eats tuna to such an amount now. It's used in everything, so it doesn't just
Tinned
need to
or
be
fresh.
yeah, exactly. It's great omega-3 and 6, and it's great brain food for kids. So
yes, I mean your meats are really, really vital. So they're going to boost your immune system and build muscles. Okay.
Okay.
The second group that we want to look at are your fats. Okay. A couple of things from the fridge. Cheese and oils and mayonnaise. Of course, you've got butter in that group as well, and all of your spreads. Fats are there because they provide heat and energy pretty much for the body, and we'll go into more detail about them later, but you have your good fats and you have your bad fats.
and your very, very ugly fats as well.
True,
Good,
the
bad,
trans
and the
fats.
ugly, yes.
Yeah. So we'll talk about that in a bit more detail later, but it's limited amounts that we want you to concentrate on for this particular food group.
They're definitely important, and then probably for a lot of you, the percentage that you should be having per day is more than what you would imagine. I think it's about 25 to 35 percent of your your daily intake. So that's a fair chunk, really, isn't it?
Very, yeah. Okay, well, they're the 2 of the 3 food groups. We have to get more from the kitchen, so back in a second. Okay, we're back from the kitchen.
So just actually recap on that, I suppose because I'm at such a healthy weight myself at the minute, I probably eat a little bit more fat than ideally what you should be doing if you're wanting to lose weight. So I'm going to pull that back, that percentage I said, and say about 20 to 30 max.
Yeah.
Yeah. I have my wrists up there. So
Full fat, yeah. Okay, the third food group we're talking about is everybody's favourite, your carbohydrate group. So your bread, your crackers, your pasta, vegetables,
broccoli, also rice.
tomato, rice, apples. That's you. Well done. Why do we use carbohydrates? Why do we need them in our body?
Well, it's for energy.
Yes, for energy. Okay. So carbohydrates are the one that most people would spend the most time in the supermarket. I mean, there's aisle after aisle of breads and cereals, and it's
a lot of processed stuff, an awful lot of highly processed stuff.
And it's the food group that we concentrate a lot on, because what we actually have is carbohydrates breaking down into sugar, and what we classify it is a high or low GI. Would you like to explain what GI is, Julie?
Well, GI is basically a rating. It was initially developed for diabetes, and it's all foods or all carbohydrates are put on a rating between 0 or 1 to 100, sugar being at the 100 point. So all other carbohydrates are placed on that scale. So the higher your GI, the faster that food is absorbed into your body. It means that the less work your body has to do in order to get it into your bloodstream. And the lower it is, the more work it takes your body, and the slower it's absorbed. And it sustains you much more because it's slowly going into the system, and you're not getting any kind of like a sugar rush, because essentially carbohydrates break down into your body as sugar. And it's really this element of things we're going to break down a little bit more simply for you to understand why it is that whenever you eat certain very high GI, that you're craving for food afterwards. And then whenever you eat the really, really good carbohydrates, the lower GI, that you're feeling satisfied for much, much longer and they're much healthier for you.
So whenever we look at the traffic light system in a minute, you'll look at your breads and cereals and things, and you'll be able to see what are the high and what are the low. But just to give you a quick rundown, basically if it's whole grain, you can see the seeds in it, you have to chew it more, it's generally going to be a lower GI. If it's very refined, white bread, white pudding
white
rice,
stuff.
yeah, mostly the white pasta and things are going to be slightly higher. Now, if you can stick with wholemeal varieties for everything, that's fantastic, or whole grain, brilliant. But I know there'll be some of you that would rather say, okay, well, I'll have half and half maybe. You can get the 50-50 bread, or you can mix some white and brown rice or white and brown pasta just to get into the swing of it. So, take your time, but it's really, really important stuff.
You're not going to change everything overnight, and this is why we're here to support you along the way, to give you tips and hints, step by step.
Okay, the next thing I wanted to talk about was actually about how to set out your plate, basically. So half of your plate is going to be vegetables or salad. A quarter is going to be lean protein, and a quarter is going to be your low GI carbohydrates. If you need to draw lines on your plate, then do that. Half vegetables and salad, a quarter lean protein.
Which are your meats, your chicken,
Yeah,
your egg, fish.
Yeah. And then a quarter of your low GI carbohydrates. So I know in Ireland you would most often start with potatoes on the plate and then maybe add a few other things, but wrong way around. It's got to be half your vegetables and salad. I know you're confident, Julie. Okay. Okay, I want to just take you through the traffic light system that we have produced for you. It's in the back of your Me, Myself and Diet Express book. What I'd recommend is that you start with the green list, and as it's listed in their food types in alphabetical order, so beverages, bread, cereals, condiments, etc., and go through group by group and just put a little marker or something against the foods that you want to put on your shopping list, or maybe even try later. So having a look at breads, for example. Breads, you've got 100% stone ground wholemeal breads with 2.5 to 3 grams of fibre per slice. That's going to come in later when we look at nutritional labels, but it's really, really important. That's probably the key thing that I would look for in a bread. So 2.5 to 3 grams of fibre per slice. Any crisp bread with fibre, sourdough, rye or wheat bread, soya linseed bread. There's a super bread called Bergen that I'm sure it won't be available everywhere, but it's really, really nice. And any whole grain, high fibre bread. They're the sort of ones that you're going to be looking for. If you have a quick scan to the red column under breads, you've got things like bagels, baguettes, croissants, croutons, donuts, etc. They're a real no-no. Don't go anywhere near them. If you stick to the whole grain variety, you will be a lot fuller for longer.
Oh yeah, for baguette, I mean, it's way up there. I think it's high 80s, maybe low 90s. It's absorbed into your body with very little nutritional value and no sustenance at all. So try and keep away from that really white, fluffy type of bread.
Cereals there are the next thing that I would always spend time going through. But with regard to cereals, you've got things like 100% bran, all bran, Alpen, bran flakes, natural muesli, oat bran, Oatabix, porridge oats, the whole grain variety only, the large flake variety. Special K is listed, and shredded wheat. Shredded wheat, I think, on some printed versions or downloadable versions, is in the yellow column, but it should actually be listed in the green column. So make a note of that.
Yes, definitely.
You can go through yourself the condiments and seasoning over the page to dairy section. The dairy, there are a number of cheeses that we would recommend as part of your diet. You're looking for the low fat, light varieties or fat free varieties. So there's Boisson cheese, drinking buttermilk, the skimmed low fat buttermilk, fat-free cheese, cottage cheese, any fat-free or diet fruit yogurt is recommended.
You can just take time and go through all of this on your own. You actually will be able to
Yeah, I mean,
access it, with our flipping book. It would take forever to go through every
no,
single.
no. What I'd like to cover are really just the important groups. That's all, just to
Okay.
get people really up and running, straight away. But
Okay.
the things like yogurts are going to make a fantastic snack. So as I say, go through yourself your fats, oils, plenty of fruit. Generally, with regard to fruit, it's the blueberries, strawberries, raspberries. It's the berries variety, which are the lower GI and the ones we would recommend. Avocados there though, fruits, meat, poultry, fish, eggs, soya. We sort of covered it a second ago. Pretty much all pasta, bar the rice noodles and potted noodles, that sort of thing,
Okay.
is recommended. Now, the next and most important part, I think, is to get your snacks sorted. So, if you've got your healthy snacks, you will not reach for something that you shouldn't have. So, always make sure you've got your yogurt, your hummus that I thoroughly enjoy, I eat all the time. Things like, any fresh fruit or any fresh vegetables, seeds and nuts. A couple of tablespoons of nuts would be a fantastic snack.
Unsalted, preferably.
Unsugared, unsalted, yeah.
Yes.
Things like popcorn with no added sugar or salt is a fantastic snack, very good for you. Any slim fast meal replacement or even a small Snickers bar is actually on the list, so we need those. So as I say, you can go through that yourselves, but the most important thing is to get your grocery list sorted, get all your
That's in here, right at the beginning of the book.
grocery list is listed. If you just want to go through that and use that, that's great. Or use the back of the journal, just pop down a few of those things that you want to eat. Make sure you've got a breakfast, lunch, dinner sorted, and your 2 or 3 snacks, and you're up and running, and that's it. Just stick with that throughout. And if you were eating just from the green list every day, and that would be absolutely fantastic. If you eat from the green list most days, that would be marvelous, really, really good. Just try not to dip too much into the red list at all. The yellow list would be occasional. The bananas are listed as yellow, and I would always say yes, you can have 1 or 2 of those. I mean, that's okay.
Yes.
It's just not all the time because it is absorbed very quickly. But use the traffic lights, and then later we're going to learn why they're actually there in a bit more detail.
And I think also you have a whole list of lunches and quick and easy snacks and lunches at the beginning of the book too. It's important to glance through those so as that you can see that you can eat an awful lot more than just constantly having, your sandwiches. There's lots of different options. It's just trying to be a little bit creative, and we have all those examples at the beginning of the book alongside the shopping list. So
that's it. Yeah, variety forever. I mean, it's just lovely. I mean, we thoroughly enjoy our food, and we want you to too.
absolutely.
Lastly, I'd like to talk a wee bit about filling in your nutritional journal. We actually do have a nutritional journal, but it's very difficult to download. If we ever get it online, download it. But what I'd recommend is you get some kind of diary or even just a blank piece of paper and or a book or something. Draw it up. But I need you to write down every single day what you're eating, how you're feeling, and how much exercise and how much water you're drinking. So,
And the time at which you do it as well.
And why should you write down what you eat every day, Julie?
Well, it allows you to look at different patterns that you have developed or bad habits that you've developed throughout time. Also, it's great to floss over or gloss over at a later stage, but it also helps to double your weight loss because you're learning so much about yourself that you subconsciously do all the time.
Yeah, that's it. So what I recommend is a table that has the time that you eat. So first column will be what time you've eaten. Then you've got what sort of food you've eaten. The portion size, I'm not going to go into detail about that now, but maybe small, medium, large. We'll talk about portions in a later session. And then you're going to indicate, is it a red, a yellow, or a green GI food? Okay, so tick that yourself. And then so on down the page. So it might be, 8 o'clock breakfast, 10:30, a wee snack, etc., all the way down. So you've got 6 places. Your energy level then, you need to indicate, is it high, medium, or low? Your water intake, how much you're drinking. So we're trying to get you to drink at least 8 glasses a day, so indicate how many of those. Any alcohol that's consumed and how many measures. And then your exercise activity. We actually have a section for pedometer reading, so we've encouraged people to wear a pedometer and write down how many steps you've taken every day or any other exercise that you've done through the day. But that's it. Every day you should have that written down, and that's for the whole 13 weeks.